What is up, Griffin's Fantasy League? We are back. Got me, Austin Griffin, owner of Team King Pandas. We also got Connor Russell, uh, co-owner of this podcast and Team Chucks for Life owner. We had a fun week. Fortunately, the Titans tested positive again, and you know the whole deal with them getting the bye week. Same thing with Pittsburgh. It looks like Tennessee will play Sunday. Obviously, everybody who tested positive will not be there, and we're pretty much probably going to get blown out because we haven't practiced all week. Our facilities aren't open, so that's that. But anything to say about that, Connor?
You guys play?
We played Buffalo.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we're going to get our hands spunk. We're going to spank our own booties. All right.
I would predicted you guys to lose the Pittsburgh game anyway.
Yeah, I definitely think we're the weakest undefeated team right now.
And probably the Buffalo. Yeah, I probably say so. Anyways, week 4.
Yeah, week 4 was fun. As you can see right now, I have the scoreboards picked up. But before we do that, I want to go to the league transaction counter and point out that y'all be slacking because your boy is out here, owner, making the most moves. Like altogether, 23 moves. I got 9 acquires, 9 drops, and 1 trade. I haven't had anybody get really hurt so far, but I think the only closest person is you. I think you do have a lot more with 28.
28, yeah.
Yeah.
I see that right there.
Yeah. I ain't going to spend a lot of time on this. I just thought it was interesting. We're going to go head to transactions, though, of the week because literally Nick and I just traded, as a lot of you probably saw in the group chat, but we just traded history. Oh, that's last year's crap. Let's go.
I play you in the
settings, history, league home. Let's go league home. I think it's in league home. Yeah, transactions, view, see full recent activity. We're going to go all the way back to last Sunday because that's the last time we took anything into consideration. So Sunday, the October 4th. When's the last time we did a podcast, actually? We'll go back to then. We'll start right here. No, Kirk Cousins, Jarvis Landry. We already covered all that. What about Thursday? Danny Amendola dropped for Seattle's defense. AJ's team. Danny Amendola hasn't been super hot. Jeff Wilson gets added. Obviously, Jalen's been
defense. A lot of points out though.
Jeff Wilson's been pretty much with Raheem Mostert being out. He's pretty much a good pickup. They do run a really weird backfield, but Samuel Sloman, the kicker, added. You know, Charles probably had somebody on a bye week and had to drop their kicker. You know, something like that happens all the time. You added Jimmy Graham and dropped Joey Sly. Probably needed a stream of tight end.
Yeah, since both of my tight ends were out last week.
That's true. And we'll get to that. You had a pretty tough week. Joe, Buck Yourself, otherwise known as Jarek, added Damian Harris, bench running back, or second string running back in Kansas City. Larry Fitzgerald dropped. That kind of hurts to see, but he hasn't been solid. For Jarvis Landry, who probably had the biggest game of his season. So, yeah, go Jarek for that one because I wouldn't have thought that. Adam Humphries dropped after he got COVID. Traquan Smith picked up. Seems like Traquan Smith seems to be the escort of the league. He's been on like 4 players' rosters by now. Team Noise CL drops Kirk. I mean, what do you expect? He's not throwing it very good right now. Henry Ruggs gets dropped. I mean, he is listed as questionable now. He just got upgraded literally 2 minutes ago. So he could be a pickup. Teddy Bridgewater got dropped added. Austin James must be having some quarterback problems. We'll go and see what's going on there. Cardinals defense added by Nick. Gronkowski added. Eagles defense dropped by Nick also. Nick's making moves. Nick also adds Dearness Johnson, new starting running back or second string running back for Cleveland. Kareem Hunt wins first string. Dropped Tevin Coleman. I think he's hurt, not playing too good anyway. That's why Jeff Wilson's going to get a lot of the snaps. A trade has been accepted and proposed and upheld by me, which is Will Fuller. I took Will Fuller from Nick, and he took Joshua Kelly from me. Joshua Kelly is somebody I really liked, but Will Fuller's going off and with Deshaun Watson, and they don't even have a head coach or anything. So just imagine if they had an actual offense worth playing with. He's been going up against really tough defenses. Houston as a whole has been, and he's still performing. So I'm proud. I can't wait to see him play against a matchup that actually favors him. He did have one game where he wasn't there. Nobody really cares about that. Vontae Freeman got dropped by Jarek, probably to make room for all the other crap he just did. And then this is just saying the trade went through. Do you have any notable trades, transactions, waiver drops, claims that you want to note, or?
Nothing that sticks out to me the most. It's kind of just mending the holes that we have due to injuries and COVID for this season. So,
yeah. One thing I want to say is there's not a lot of running backs. There's not a lot of running back talent on the waivers. It seems like running backs are like gems. You have to hold on to them because if one goes down, you have to have a backup, because there's nothing. It's like toilet paper during COVID. You need it, it's sold out. But yeah, let's move on to the points. As you guys know, Connor and I have been doing weekly guessums, I guess you could say. So let's go ahead and go to the scoreboard. Because last week, Connor and I predicted some things, and some of us were right, some of us were wrong. We'll get into that. So last week, there it goes. We'll start with me and AJ Valdez. Valdez is somebody bouncing back from a lot of injuries. He's not out of it yet. He is 2-2. I'm 1-3. He did lose to me, which Connor and I both took the W for me. So basically how this works is if we guess something right, we'll get 1 point. So we both took me last podcast, and we're both getting a point now. Jalen and Austin James, very great game. We both ended up taking Jalen, but it really could have went both ways. So we'll both get points for that. Jarek and Aaron James.
You're coming out so bad right now.
I'm what? You still there, brother?
I'm here. You're glitching out a lot on my screen.
Really? I guess we'll have to wait for the video. But we'll continue. Connor took Jarek, and I also took Jarek. Got a point, both of us. We both took Charles and got a point. We both took Nick and got a point. This is where we differentiate, is because I took Connor over AJ because after a monster week, I thought he was going to come back. But AJ actually ended up winning, and Connor took AJ. So he gets the point for being humble. The upset of the week, both of us chose Austin James over Jalen, and it almost happened. We wanted it to happen really badly, but Jalen won. So no points awarded there. Matchup of the week.
4-0.
What's that? Oh. Matchup of the week was
I'm saying 4-0.
Nick So the matchup of the week winner was Austin James and Jalen with a point differential of 4.5. But Connor took Nick and Jonas, which was the second best pick you could have done, which was 12.28. So not a bad pick. I took the point there because I chose the correct one. But we're moving on to the biggest blowout where Connor came back with another point because he chose Jarek over Austin James with an 88.94 point differential, and I took Charles with only a 32.72 point differential, the third best pick, other than me beating AJ by 65.3. So we're going to move on into looking at what happened. You still with me, bud?
Yeah, I'm still here, bud.
All right, all right. All right, give
We're
me the
having connection
rundown.
issues, but we'll power through.
Yeah, give me the rundown of this matchup. So we're gonna go with the quarterbacks first. What do you got to say about the quarterback matchup?
We had Deshaun Watson and Ryan Fitzpatrick. Fitzmagic had a decent game. I believe it was last week against the Jaguars, whenever that was. But that was kind of like I want to say a one-time thing, but I would say that it's not going to be consistent like that every week.
You don't think Fitzpatrick's gonna be consistent?
All right, you had to start Fitzpatrick over Tannehill because of the COVID issues, right?
Yeah, that and Fitzmagic has been putting 20 points plus up a week. So I was solidly. I mean, he's getting sometimes 40, almost 50 attempts a game. So I wasn't I wasn't too upset to start him. I believe in the Fitzmagic. I believe in the Fitzmagic. Deshaun Watson. How do you bench Deshaun Watson? I think AJ has a running back problem still. He's having to start, RB2s for his RB1, even Darron in a borderline RB3. His wide receivers are still probably one of the best. Julio Jones, arguably the best receiver right now in the league. Scotty Miller, somebody up and coming on a very lethal offensive oriented team. If we take a look at my running backs, I'm not selling my running backs at all. I'm in complete love with my RB1 core. 25 plus points almost every week so far. So I'm pretty happy with that. My wide receivers, they did really good this last week. My entire team as a whole did good. But, Mike Evans, for some reason, is struggling to get a lot of the targets on with Tom Brady, is really spreading it around. When he does get targets, he does a lot of good with them. What's that, bro?
It seems like for Mike Evans, it's every other week that so far, at least, that he's been getting good games. His first week, he starts off with a mere 2 points. Then he busts out like Carolina at 23. He gets a mediocre 14 at Denver, and then busts out for another 25 at LA.
Yep.
So one could predict that Chicago he might, just based on the stats, he might not produce as well as the week before. But it's also against a Chicago defense that is still trying to find themselves.
Yeah. And Terry McLaurin, he's definitely wide receiver one material, but he's on a horrible team. That's all I got to say. Washington team, pretty bad. But they are starting Kyle Allen, which kind of did pretty, he was kind of a spark for Carolina last year. So I'm excited. Dwayne Haskins got benched. I don't know if you heard the news, but I'm excited to see if Terry will still get the target share. I'm sure he will. So he's getting started for me, but I do have Will Fuller now, just in case everything goes awry. But yeah, other than that, really all AJ Valdez is waiting for is McCaffrey to come back and AJ Brown to come back. Once those two come back, he'll be lethal again. We're gonna move on to the matchup of the week, which was Derek Carr went off for 20 points. Matthew Stafford went off for 22.3. Pretty average quarterback games, nothing out of the blue. Clyde Zellaire, rookie in the league, still trying to find his foothold. They do like him a lot. They are feeding him, and he's producing. He's not Ezekiel Elliott rookie year producing, but he's producing. Josh Jacobs, 10.3 points. He's struggling to find himself after the first couple of games of the season. I mean, he has played some tough defenses. What do you think is the root of Josh Jacobs' slump that he's been in? If you could even call it a slump, I mean, 10 points.
I mean 10 points. That's
pretty
kind
consistent.
of at least just what I ask for pretty much almost every week. It's like if you can get me 10 points or above, then you're going to be doing good. As far as the slump, I know I wasn't able to watch that game because I was hunting, but I don't know. I'd say it might be because just of this year's just wonky in general. You might have some outside sources coming in on him. He might have family problems or whatever, or just something in his life that's just getting maybe a little distracted. But other than that, I can't really say anything that would call it a slump. No.
Yeah. I think he's just playing some tough defenses. I think the offensive line isn't super rush heavy minded. We're going to move over to Jalen, Austin Eckler, Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara puts up 20 points. I mean, it's almost expected at this point. Austin Eckler got carted off. He's not going to play for a while. I think he's dealing with an MCL sprain, something like that. PCL. I don't know. I heard something. But he will not be playing anymore. And that really took a damper on Jalen's team. And Calvin Ridley, 0 points. Number one receiver going into it, 0 points.
Yeah. What happened? Did he get hurt?
No, he's perfectly healthy. I just don't understand.
He had no receptions. Not even one.
Mm-hmm. And he was targeted 5 times. I don't know what to say about that. It's just piss poor, honestly.
Bad week, I guess.
And if he would have just put up a little, even less than what he was averaging, Jalen would have won. Or it would have been not as close a game as we all thought. That's why Jalen did win. Devontae Parker, 21 points, solid. Mark Andrews, I hate Mark Andrews because he's so boomer bust. You know what his stat line was in this game? 2 receptions for 12 yards, 2 touchdowns, something like that. Let's look at it.
It's 3 for 56.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, wait. Where'd it go? Where? 3 for 57 too. Okay, maybe I was thinking about last week. Yeah, 3 for 22 last week, but 2 touchdowns. That's what saved his fantasy points. Other than that, it's like 8.3. I don't know. George Kittle.
You take away his touchdowns, and then it's nothing.
Yeah.
But yeah, George Kittle points, 40 points for a tight end.
And I'm always against putting your tight end in a flex, but George Kittle is a different type of breed. Damn, dude. And he tried to trade him. He did. Nobody took his offer. I didn't reach out to Jalen just because I felt like he'd want too much for him. Honestly, I couldn't afford him, especially when I have Darren Waller. There's just so many good tight ends right now that if once my tight end goes on a bye week, I could just stream a tight end. I'm not worried about tight ends. Let's see. Nothing more to say about their bench. I mean, we've been talking about it for a while, but yeah. Other than that, we're gonna move on to the next one. Tyler Boyd had a good game. Joe Burrow's kind of emerging. To the biggest blowout, Kyler Murray had an average game. Ezekiel Elliott 20. Joe Mixon 42.1. That's what they were waiting for. Kenny Galladay 16.2. Odell Beckham 38.4. I hate Odell Beckham, but he had a good game. Oh my God. Hayden Hurst 9.1 points. Marquise Brown 12.6. James Robinson 14.7. 6 points for the Saints. And Zane Gonzalez kicks it in for 3 points. No pun intended. Connor, what do you got to say about Jarek's Monster Week?
You know what? I think what surprised me the most is Joe Mixon earlier in. I feel like if I remember correctly, earlier in his career, he was kind of a mediocre running back. But then the last couple of years, he's really shown his game, especially against the Jacksonville defense. Last week, you see the 42.1 points right there.
Mm-hmm.
He's proven himself. I think he's 5th in total rushing yards, right behind Derrick Henry. Of the season.
He always starts out slow.
He's up there with the big guys. He keeps doing this. He's gonna have a great season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but that's the question: is keep doing it?
Will he keep up? I mean, he always started out slow. Last year he did the same thing. I don't want to be on the Joe Mixon train, but I am on the Joe Mixon train. The reason why I am on the Joe Mixon train is because they finally have a quarterback who could throw the ball and spread it around. But now they don't have to completely rely on Joe Mixon like they did last year. Joe Mixon was the man last year in the Cincinnati offense. And they needed him to be the man again this year. However, they have more passing opportunities, and they're going to take them and they're going to spread it out, which spreads the defense out, which allows Joe Mixon to get more yards. I don't know why it took him so long, originally, but he's back. We always knew all fantasy owners were holding on to him because they knew he was going to, explode. But I would have sold on him. Maybe that's why I'm 1-3, but I would have sold on him early. I wasn't big on him. I could have taken him, but I took Chris Carson, which in my personal defense has completely worked out so far. So I don't feel any ill will, but I would still take Chris Carson over Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon.
Yeah, I would.
Joe Mixon would be the next. Would be the next for sure, though. We're gonna move over to Aaron's team. Aaron did a bad fantasy manager move. He started Corey Davis and Benny Snell. I don't know why. It could have been he forgot. But even if he forgot, Corey Davis and the Titans have been postponed for a while, so not sure.
Yeah. Well, look at his bench.
Yeah, his bench. I mean, Christian Kirk would have scored him 9.8 points, and Mecole Hardman in the flex for Benny Snell would have scored him another 7.8 points too. He still wouldn't have won, which doesn't excuse his non-managerness, but he still wouldn't have won anyway. So, I think his biggest problem was KJ Hamler scored him 0 when he was projected 10 points. So he had a bad week, regardless of them not putting the 2 players in. So I'm not upset about it. He did help secure us the 1-point blowout lead, though. We're going to move on to Charles and Keegan. Keegan struggles to come back from his injuries. Saquon and Raheem Mostert. Raheem Mostert should be a play this week. I don't know if he'll get all the snaps he used to do, but he should play this week. Wow. Saquon Barkley is obviously out for the season. He still has Denzel Mims in his IR. Keegan, drop Denzel Mims. Why are you holding on to Denzel Mims? And Charles, why are you holding on to Dallas Goedert? Drop him. I mean, I could understand why Charles has Dallas Goedert in his IR, because who else would he put in his IR? It's a free player, right? But Keegan, drop Denzel Mims, put Saquon Barkley in there, and get yourself a better wide receiver. You don't need Jalen Reagor. What is up with you and the 2 rookie Philadelphia Eagles receivers that have a horrible quarterback and a horrible offensive line, and they're just not doing good? What's up with it? Connor, what do you have to say?
You're straight calling him out on that, man.
Yeah, I'm calling him out. He needs to work his stuff out. I mean,
Yeah, I
am I
mean,
wrong?
still
It's
got the. No, I wouldn't say you're wrong. It would serve his team better if he did put Saquon in the IR and then use that bench that spot to fill up somebody better. Um, I mean, he's still starting Devontae Adams and he's still out, I believe. Not
Devonte
questionable,
Adams
but
is not going to play this week. Yeah, he started Devonte Adams because he was going to play, and then he tweeted probably a couple
he
hours before the game that he wasn't going to
Keegan,
play.
Keegan's entire bench, besides like two people, I is either or freaking couldn't
Horrible.
play because of the COVID stuff.
Yeah.
Like, dude, Keegan, like, did you give up? Did you give up?
What's the Stephen A. Smith bit that is like a meme now? It's like you're not wrong, but did you have to say it? You know what I'm talking about? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
What's his
Charles
team?
takes the
9 points.
-9 points. Keegan,
-9 points against Cleveland.
if you just made some
That
different pickups, like drop Rager, dude. Drop Peyton Barber. Hold on to Connor. Drop Chris Herndon. He's trash. All right. Drop Deshaun Watson. Drop everybody on the Eagles. Okay. Drop everybody on
not
the Eagles.
everybody on your bench.
No, just
Your
no.
entire bench.
Keep Raheem, Saquon, and James. Find yourself some different receivers. I promise, dude. I promise. I'm trying to help. Promise. Um, Charles, you escape. Because if everything was healthy on Keegan, he would have took your butt out. You still got a lot of Chargers players. I'm not disappointed. I'm just a little disappointed.
I'm not disappointed. I'm just a little disappointed.
I don't know. I mean, you have Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. I'm so jealous. Give me one. I have to start Ryan Tannehill and Ryan. I have to start the Ryans. Okay, we're moving on. This is a good matchup. We got Nick and Jonas. Jonas starts. Lamar Jackson gets him a solid 25 points like usual. Kirk Cousins sucks. Not need to talk about that. Kenyon Drake gets him 15 or 3.5 points, and Nick Chubb gets hurt and scores 4.3 points. So Kenyon Drake hasn't lived up to what he was supposed to do this season. And Nick Chubb gets hurt. So Nick is in a world of hurt. I gave him Josh Kelly for Will Fuller, and it's what it is. Kareem Hunt over here and Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley, somebody I sold high on. He finally came back with a little bit of production. Kareem Hunt, is going to take over the starting role, and he was already scoring 15 points on average in the backup role. So I'm excited to see what he does in the front role. Allen Robertson, Justin Jefferson, two solid receivers. Justin Jefferson really. Hold on, I think Connor left. We have a minor technical difficulty. Hold on. What's up, homie?
I got kicked.
You got kicked.
Yeah.
All right, one sec. Here, I'll send you the stuff. He will be back in a second. But for now, we're going to move on. Here, let me get this off. Let me screen share again. All right. So, yeah, I'm going to move on from this matchup. Mike Davis is only going to be temporary. David Montgomery, not the best. Noah Fant is obviously considered now week to week. Eagles, 14 points defense. That's pretty good. Niners always going to have a good defense, especially when Nick Bosa gets back. Actually, next year, sorry. What else do we got going on? Julian Edelman, I traded him away, 6.5 points. Yeah, we're going to move on to the last matchup. Russell Wilson goes off for 20.9 points. Not too bad. Melvin Gordon, 25.8. Emerges as the number one back there. Philip Lindsay kind of dissolves. Jonathan Taylor, I don't know how I feel about him anymore. He's had a pretty good start, but he's kind of puttering out. Jared Goff for Connor has 11.7 points. One sec. Yo. Connor. Connor. Yo. Oh, I see you. There's two of you in. Oh, now you're back.
We're good?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but it's recording fine on my screen. All right.
You're still recording?
Yep. Still good.
All right.
I'm on
Sorry
you.
about that, guys.
Yeah. I'm gonna cut it. I think I'm gonna figure it out. And if I don't cut it, then I'm sorry, but I'm gonna try. But we're on you now. And Jared Goff, we had 11 point. Oh, what the? Yep. Yeah, my Zoom broke, but I have a different thing going on my computer, so forget Zoom for now. I got you on audio here, Connor, so it'll pick you up still.
Okay.
But we are talking about Jared Goff and Russell Wilson, their matchup, your matchup. What do you got?
What do I got? I got that. I probably started Herbert.
You got that you probably should have started Justin Herbert. Yeah, dude, I don't disagree, but how do you expect that,
Yeah, yeah. I don't know, man. He goes up against a decent back there in Tampa Bay that's been pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes for almost 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. He did throw an interception, but it's only one, and he still scored 23 points. And he is a rookie. He's gonna make those mistakes, but so far he's a reliable guy. I'll probably look into starting him next week, but yeah, he is playing the New England Saints. So
New England Saints, huh?
yeah, well, the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't fault you for wanting to start him. Jared Goff has been pretty boom or bust, and lately he's been pretty bust. So Malcolm Brown gets you solid 10 points. Rex Burkhead almost gets you 10 points. I know you aim for 10 points with them. But,
Yeah, for them at least, it sucks. Derrick Henry was out, wasn't able start him.
Yeah, the whole COVID thing is really trash.
Yeah.
Other than that, AJ just had some good players. Jarvis Landry, he picks up. Traquan Smith comes back into the scene after we all thought he wasn't going to be anything. His bench is pretty bad. Laviska Shenault is continuing to be pretty good. Laviska Chenault's actually somebody I'm considering picking up in a lot of leagues, so pretty happy with him.
Another thing that I like to add is that I saw that the Patriots and Chiefs game was postponed. Titans and Pittsburgh game. I thought it was going to be the exact same thing, so I didn't start.
Kelsey.
I thought it would have made the biggest difference. He didn't even do that good. I mean, 3 receptions, 7 yards, 70 yards, no touchdowns.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Better than Graham. Yeah. Not much to take away from this game other than you kind of got screwed by a whole bunch of things you couldn't control. But we're going to move on to this week and projections. Week 5. Oof, not good. So I am projected to play Austin James, who is 2-2, and who. Let's go to the matchup. Are you looking at this on your phone?
Yeah, it says like he doesn't have a quarterback starting right now.
Yep. Oh, what the? Okay. So he doesn't have a quarterback starting right now, probably because he just picked up Bridgewater and hasn't had the time to put in yet, because it looks like Matthew Stafford is on a bye. So yeah. So it looks like Teddy Bridgewater, will be his starter against me. I'm projected to score 142.8. I honestly feel like my team had struggled out the gates, but now we are back in full force. Antonio Gibson wins over the starting spot as well as Kyle Allen over in Washington. I get Will Fuller, who, if you want to go ahead and click on Will Fuller and see what he's been putting up, that'll do everything for you. Mike Evans, who is consistently great, and Terry McLaurin, who's consistently great. And then I honestly feel like I have the top 3 backs, some of the top 3 fantasy scoring backs right now. My only struggle is with quarterback, and I'm going with Ryan Tannehill. Granted, if there's a game, if not, I'm not afraid to put in Fitzpatrick. I really like Fitzpatrick, so I'm not worried about it. And I'm going to take me. I'm not afraid to take me. I'm going to take me.
Let's see here. You're going to start Teddy. Teddy's going to be up against Atlanta. Who knows that this year's that struggle with Atlanta with either the offense, which doesn't seem like because Matt Ryan has been putting up some numbers, but they just consistently like to blow leads and like to be part of the defense. We'll see what Teddy can do. He's going to start there out with 17. I think they actually have it right about there. I think that he's going to score about anywhere from 15 to a 19. I don't think he's going to have a 20-point game, but we'll see. Denver's defense going against New England. Cam Newton has COVID, so he's not going to be starting in that game. Who is the backup in New England right now?
Jared Stidham.
Jared Stidham? Yeah, I've never heard of him, so I think that's going to be good. Denver. Good defensive Denver.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be, I feel like New England's going to be a lot of run heavy probably in that game, and they have a decent run defense as far as I remember. Amari Cooper, he went off last week to go up against the Giants. So you can expect another 20-plus point game for Amari Cooper.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, from what I saw last week, you have a decent matchups are on all your guys. Yeah, Dalvin Cook going against Seattle. Seattle's defense likes to give away points. The same thing with Minnesota's defense as well. Darren Waller going against KC. I feel like KC's defense could be improved in some ways. So he'll probably have a decent game. I'm gonna go with you as well.
All right, you heard it, guys. Connor picks me over Austin James. I just feel like my team is definitely up and coming. People might like to think down on my team, but I definitely think it's coming, and I'm not afraid. I think I'll make the playoffs for sure. And that's a bold statement, but I don't care.
You're 1-3, correct?
Yeah, 1-3. Come at me, anybody except for Jalen, because I actually am afraid of Jalen's team. But we're actually gonna get the Jalen, and his team is actually struggling. So Jalen is forced to play Derek Carr, Alvin Kamara, which I want to say forced, but he gets the opportunity to play Kamara. I mean, that's a pretty good thing to say, but he has to start Jeff Wilson. Connor, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, like you said, Austin Eckler's injury, correct? He has to start a different running back. I know what that feels like. It sucks. This whole year's running back. It seems like you either have a good running back 1, or you have a shitty running back 4 as your starter.
Yeah. I mean, with Raheem Mostert being out, or Mostert, and Kevin Coleman being hurt also.
You gotta do what you gotta do. Hopefully
he could replicate week 3.
Yeah.
Ezekiel Elliott and Joe Mixon is an iconic running back duo for Jarek. Definitely going to score him both plus 20 points if they feed off of last week.
My question is with Joe Mixon. I wanted to say this last time. Last week was his first time scoring a touchdown, and it was 2. He went no touchdowns the first 3 weeks and didn't break above 100 or even 70 yards those 3 weeks. So can you say that the Jacksonville defense would just let him go wherever he wanted, or do you think he's going to be able to keep up? Maybe not this 42-point game, but maybe a solid 20.
I want to think that Joe Mixon will be stuffed, but I'm not so sure. I mean, I think he's rolling now. I think Cincinnati's rolling. I think they're going to go up from here. I don't know if they're going to win out, but they're definitely going to go up, and they're not going to be the past Cincinnati team. So, really, what I said earlier was Joe Mixon's going to be able to run a lot because of how much they're going to be able to utilize the passing game there in Cincinnati now, especially with Joe Burrow, AJ Green, T Higgins. They got a lot of threats out there. So Cincinnati's not to be taken lightly anymore, and Joe Mixon is definitely going to step up. I mean, I don't think he's going to play as bad as he was at the beginning of the season. I think I think he's 15 to 20 points per game, probably for the rest of the season. So that's that. I didn't want to be big on Joe Mixon, but unfortunately, if I'm going to be honest, I think he is going to do good. So that's where I'm at with that. I think Jeff Wilson obviously is the weakest running back here for a lot of reasons. I mean, Kamara, Elliott, and Mixon is pretty prestigious. Yeah, I don't like the running back matchup. I think Elliott and Mixon will walk away with that. Chark and Odell Beckham. I hate Odell Beckham. I always will. I don't like his fantasy production, but I mean, since he's been in Cleveland, I guess he hasn't been so bad. But I still would never roster the dummy. Especially for as high as he was going in drafts. He's not worth that for me. So I don't ever target him. Calvin Ridley, what up, man? I mean, can you replicate? I mean, you're going against Carolina, so I hope you replicate, but come on, man. And Chark, come on, man. Come on, guys. Devontae Parker, 21 points last week. You better go off again. Mark Andrews and George Kittle. I'm astonished that he has those two tight ends. They're pretty good. Hayden Hurst, 9 point something points last week. He's pretty boomer bust, but when he busts, it's pretty low. It's pretty high ceiling. So I like him. Marquise Brown's been pretty boomer bust also. He's been busting a lot lately. I wouldn't roster Marquise Brown, and if I did, he's on my bench, sitting on my bench. So Tyler Boyd, I think had 21 points last week. So I mean, no doubt he's going to be flexed here. I mean, I think he's been flexed for the entire season. And James Robinson is a band-aid fix, but he has been really good. I don't know if you've watched anything on him, but bro, he's been way more than they've expected out of him.
Yeah, looking at his weeks, he's got 10, 21, 30, and 14. I mean, that's solid. That's solid, and he's in your flex. So,
And he's undrafted, so
get that kind of talent in your flex, you're sitting good somewhere.
Alan Lazard's on the bye for him. Pittman's in the IR. Ooh, really? Oh,
We can
yeah.
expect George Kittle to probably go against the Miami defense.
All right, I'm gonna call it. This may be risky, my guy, but I'm calling it right now. Jarek over the 4-0 Jalen.
Jarek over Jalen.
I just don't like Jeff Wilson, and I think Devontae Parker will bust this week. So that's my reasoning. George Kittle could carry again, but obviously, I don't know many people that go back-to-back 40-point games. So I'm just liking the overallness of Jarek's team right here.
Yeah, I have a feeling if someone's going to stop Jalen, it has to be this week.
Jarek just needs to also figure out his kicking situation. Mason Crosby's on a bye, so I'm sure he'll fix it. We're gonna move on. AJ Valdez versus Aaron James, probably the two of the three bad teams in the league right now. I don't mean that in any disrespect, but Aaron James, your best running back is on a bye this week. KJ Hamler scored you 0 points, got hurt. Benny Snell's still in your flex, and you need to change that. Dude, I don't know. It's like which turd is shinier, you know. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with. Oh my god, I don't know who I'm gonna go with.
I'm going with AJ.
You're going with AJ?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm rolling with AJ too. I just think Aaron, with Aaron Jones on a bye and with Corey Davis probably not with the Titan. Nobody knows for sure what the Titans organization is going through right now. So I'm with AJ Valdez taking a win here also, which is needed for him because anytime he could score a W in this time where he's just waiting for McCaffrey to come back is clutch. So I'm with AJ on this one. You said you were with AJ also?
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna move to Keegan and Jonas. I think this is pretty clear that I'm on without even looking at the matchups. I'm for Jonas here. Kareem Hunt, he gets lucky, and Kareem Hunt is now the number one back in Cleveland. Todd Gurley falls into the end zone on accident. He has DeAndre Hopkins and Edelman. Like 3 years ago, that would have been a duo. Lamar Jackson, we can't forget about, is the greatest. Jared Cook is maybe a tight end too, in my opinion, especially after all the injuries he's had to overcome. His flexes are pretty weak, in my opinion. I mean, I'm not so sure about CeeDee Lamb. He did end up having a big game last week, but he's been on average like 10 to 15-ish points. I mean, that's pretty good for a flex. So maybe CeeDee Lamb isn't too bad. Marvin Jones Jr. is on a bye, so he's going to need to change that. Who could he change it with? T. Higgins would be very interesting, or Hunter Renfrow. But honestly, with the T. Higgins scoring 10 points, pretty average since he got his feet wet in the NFL. I like it. Keegan is a utter mess. Why don't you go ahead and dissect Keegan's team for us? Yeah, bro.
Cut up. Yeah, I mean, Swift, Adams, Prater, all on buys. I mean, you really don't have anybody. I mean,
Oh,
start Honor, honestly.
maybe he'd do better starting Barkley. But maybe this is a sign for Keegan to finally drop Gregor, who is now on IR, and Denzel Mims, who is also on IR. Please, Keegan.
Start James. We traded him for a reason.
Yeah.
I traded him to you for a reason.
Well, he didn't play last week.
Well, yeah, because of the COVID thing, but now the game's on.
Yeah.
And he's going against Philadelphia, so I'm feeling he's going to produce pretty good. And then at least you can put, Raheem Mostert in for Adams. At least he'll give you some points if he plays. Adams isn't going to give you anything because he's on a bye.
True.
So.
All right, bro. We're gonna move on. I don't think we need to say who we're taking here. Because I'm taking Jonas. All right, on to you versus Charles. Oh my goodness, this is a good matchup. Have you decided Herbert over Goff?
I'm probably going to start Herbert. I just haven't done it yet. But I honestly don't know because Goff is going up against Washington.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll just say what we have. What we see here is what we'll go off of.
Dude, I love your team, but your biggest problem is the Tennessee Titans organization.
What do you mean?
Your biggest problem is whether or not the Tennessee Titans will play this week.
Oh yeah.
Because if you have to take Henry and John Newsmith out, you lose. Plain and simple. Even with
well, so far they're gonna play as far as I heard that.
Yeah, as far as I know, they're going to play too. But we had 2 more positive tests today. So we're going to go into a game. Everybody who is negative is going to go into a game in which they did not see 1 second of grass practice time. Only film study.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're also in the NFL and you've been doing this for a while, so you should. I mean, I know you haven't had any practice, but I mean, you know what you should be doing.
True. Substantially, the losses are bad though for our depth. It's really bad, especially for our defense. It's really bad. I know that doesn't affect you, but as a Titans fan, I'm very disappointed in this season, especially since this is supposed to be a good season for us. We're gonna move on. I'm taking you.
I'm taking me as well.
I like what Charles is doing. Well, I like what you're doing a little bit more.
I just have a feeling.
He just needs to trade one of his quarterbacks for some running backs. I'm sure there's somebody in this world or in this league that will take Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes for. I mean, if you're listening to this, Charles, you could have Chris Carson for Patrick Mahomes. You could have him.
Hey man, ain't no trading on the podcast.
Ain't no trade on the podcast. I'm sorry. Slap my wrist. But yeah, literally, Charles, you need to fix your running backs, dude. David Johnson is literally getting outshone by Duke Johnson, and then Myles Gaskin is a temporary fix there. They're literally actively looking for somebody. You just need running backs, dude. Like you only have 2 running backs on your entire roster. 3. Philip Lindsay.
I mean, it's the same story on this side of the fence too. So.
Same story over there. I mean, running backs are hard to find. We're going to move on. I got you over him. This is a good matchup, let me tell you.
AJ Sanders and Nick?
Yep.
Yeah.
So, Russell Wilson, Melvin Gordon, Jonathan Taylor versus Big Ben, Kenyon Drake, and Mike Davis. Kenyon Drake's been in a slump, and Mike Davis has been shining for the missing McCaffrey. Melvin Gordon's been hot, and Jonathan Taylor's been in a slump. What do you feel about the quarterback running back?
Quarterback, automatically, I have Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson's a fucking beast. He's going to have an MVP season right now. I
Yep.
said it last. I'm going to say it again. I think he did throw an interception, but I mean, like, he's like what? He's like 2 interceptions for
Mhm.
10, 12,
Something crazy like
14
that.
touchdowns and 2 interceptions. That's freaking crazy. His lowest scoring point is a 20.9, which is actually kind of surprising since he went up against Miami. But still, 360 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
That's MVP right there. Running backs, I also do have AJ as well, considering that Nick Chubb is out. Melvin Gordon's been doing pretty good. Some games better than others, but overall he's been performing decently. Same with Jonathan Taylor. I feel like
Yeah.
doing solid. About 15. I think his average is about like around the 13 to 15.
Yeah.
Which isn't.
He's been in a slump. I mean, I wouldn't say a 9-point game is a slump, but for somebody who wants to be an RB1, it's pretty much a slump. I mean, Jonathan Taylor, come on, man.
I think I would say Tyreek Hill over Allen Robinson, just because we know what Tyreek Hill can do.
Well, you know what Allen Robinson could do too. The problem is Chicago's offense and quarterback problem.
I would say though that the next wide receiver I have Juju over Cole Beasley.
I like Juju over Beasley. Yep, that's right.
I do have Ertz over Gronkowski. Gronkowski is a bust. He's a bust. There's no boom at all. Bust. My opinion. If you don't like it, leave the fucking room. I don't care.
Yeah. Titans, Zach Ertz and Gronkowski. I like Ertz in this. Gronkowski hasn't been like the old, so Michael Thomas might be coming back. David Montgomery. David Montgomery's a solid 10 points, but Michael Thomas could be a 40-point player.
If he's back, if he comes back, he'll score some points.
Mm-hmm.
You see Joshua Kelly on next team now because you traded.
Yep.
You did the Nick.
Nick needed a running back.
He's definitely going to be the starter now that Eckler's hurt.
Yeah. I wanted to see what he could do for a week, but I needed a wide receiver, and I had a lot of running backs, so I'm not afraid to give him away.
Yeah, well, I was going to give you Diggs, but you said no.
I didn't want. I mean, if you take a look at what Fuller's been doing, Fuller's a wide receiver 1 in a regular. Like, he could start in a regular receiver 1.
But so is Diggs.
So is Diggs, but. So, I mean, just look. I mean, Will Fuller, dude, except for the game he missed for personal issues, he has not scored under 21 points. And that's huge. I mean, last week he scored like 28 points for me. And then the week before, it was like 20 points. But I like Will Fuller.
He did score under 21. He scored 19 against Kansas City and 15 against Pittsburgh.
Oh. But then he scored how much?
Scored 22. You look at Diggs, though. He's a consistent 17. Every game. Someone that you can rely on.
I like Diggs, especially in
That's my argument. I think he's better in Buffalo than he was in Minnesota.
Oh yeah, definitely. I had Diggs when he was in Minnesota, and he let me down a whole bunch. So I feel like I have a little bit of, I don't know what you would call it, but I'm not in on Diggs I am in on Diggs, but I'm not super in love with the idea of rostering him just because he messed me up so bad. Just like how I feel about Le'Veon Bell. I mean, if you roster Le'Veon Bell, you have a problem anyway. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to go with I don't know. I think I'm gonna take AJ.
You're taking AJ?
Yeah, I'm gonna take AJ.
Oh, thinking about that too.
Yeah, we're gonna have upsets this week. Matter of fact, my upset of the week will be AJ over Nick because I already picked it. So
Yeah, I mean, I've been thinking about that. That's gonna be my upset of the week as well. However, no, I'm going with AJ. I just think that now because Nick Chubb's out and the Rob Gronkowski, I think AJ's gonna pull the dub over this one.
yeah. Okay, so we literally picked the entire same week 5 matchups, but things can change in the upset. So I pick AJ Sanders to win over Nick as my upset of the week. Just because they're so tightly close and he's 3-1 and he's 4-1, I think he's just gonna take the win over Nick.
And my upset of the week is AJ with Nick, just because AJ. What is AJ?
3-1.
3-1.
Yep. So he's technically a good team, but it's technically an upset.
I'm gonna change my upset of the week is Jarek over Jalen.
Jarek over Jalen?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Connor goes upset of the week, Jarek over Jalen. That's a good one.
My blowout is going to be Tacoma and Keegan.
Tacoma and Keegan?
Yeah.
Or Jonas and Keegan?
Yeah, Jonas.
Yeah, that's definitely a good one. Yeah, that's mine too. Everybody else seems at least a little bit more balanced. Usually I would usually pick anybody that goes against AJ's Valdez team and Aaron James's team, but they play each other. So the one person above them is Keegan's team, which Jonas is a really good player. So I'm taking Jonas over Keegan for the biggest blowout too. And then matchup of the week.
Matchup of the week is hard. I don't know whether to do the 2/3 of the league with Mary and Kate, or because you and James is a good matchup, and so is me and Charles.
Yeah.
So.
I'm not gonna choose James and me, but I'm gonna choose. I know I've been choosing them a lot, but I'm gonna choose AJ and Nick as matchup of the week. Just because I feel like that game is gonna be super entertaining to watch. I think AJ is gonna win, but by a slim margin.
So you have AJ and Nick as the upset of the week and the matchup of the week.
Yep.
Let's see here. My matchup. My matchup of the week. I'm gonna go matchup of the week is going to be Aaron and AJ, I think.
Aaron and AJ, the 2/3. All right. Well, it's all booked. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. We love to do these podcasts. We got a lot of technical difficulties we got to work out. Obviously, it's our first year doing it. But yeah, we're gonna head out. Peace out, Connor. Any final words?
Later, nah, man. I'll see you next week.
See you guys.